Hey Fitz, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, welcome. Thank you for showing
One,
up. I appreciate you, man.
one sec. Let me get my camera set up.
Okay.
hmm Yeah, man. Thanks for reaching out.
Oh, no problem. I was kind of touch and go there for a second. I was like, hey, can you do four? He's like, probably. I'm like, oh, well, all right. Well, I guess we'll see.
Yeah, life,
Right. I
get
don't
really busy. So like, and at first, when someone reaches out, I'm very, how's the word? I'm questionable, of the circumstances. You know what I mean?
skeptic.
So
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So not gonna lie, I was kind of testing you a little bit, see, make sure you weren't trying to pull anything funny, but you know, all good, all good. I'm happy to be here, bro. Happy. Always good to meet cool people. Talk a little Dragon Ball. I
Yeah.
checked out your channel a little bit too. I like some of your content. You know what I mean?
I,
Definitely, you sound like you know your stuff.
I try. I try. Yeah. Every now and again I'll catch somebody will catch me slipping these dudes like what's his name Chronicles
CBS Chronicles.
yeah, like he does these deep dives and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot all about that. It's like yeah, you think you know a lot of Dragon Ball, so you go on Twitter and you see just how much there is to know, like between him and that like Todd Blankenship dude.
Yeah, Herms. Yes.
Yeah, Herms. Yeah, they know like the shit. I think they know what color Toriyama's poop is tonight. So
Yeah.
they who knows, man? It's like how the hell do you know some of this stuff?
That's
But, I mean,
hilarious.
yeah, it's this is awesome. So are you still trying to get your camera ready?
Yeah. It's like
Oh,
so when I'm on Zoom, it just adds like wonky,
mm,
like because if I know what it says webcam utility better, that's like for my YouTube camera, my Canon, and
mm-hmm.
it's like that detecting with my it's being weird detecting this in my so hold up, give me 1 sec.
Okay.
Give me 1 sec, bro.
3 days later.
What as I'm getting this set up, what were you thinking for this video?
So I just ask you like go through a few questions, like
Of
a
course.
couple topics real quick,
Of course.
just going back and forth on some concepts and ideas surrounding
Nice.
the manga. Mostly, yeah, just mostly talking about the manga. Yeah.
Oh, nice, nice. How long you been watching Dragon Ball? Because for me, it's been my whole life. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
well, yeah, man. I think I still actually I have a distinct memory of the first time I saw Dragon Ball, and it
Mhm.
was Dragon Ball Z. I used to go to like the Boys and Girls Club is.
Yeah.
So I was in my parents had me in that, and I remember I walked into like the little media room, and I looked up on the TV and I saw it was the episodes. It was like in the Namek saga when Goku was in the ship traveling through space. So
Mm-hmm.
I looked up and saw the ship going through space, and I'm like, what is this, right? And it was just like, yeah, from there it just went black. Like it was just just Dragon Ball. I was in at that moment. So that was like back in the old Toonami days, of course, back in like
mm-hmm.
'97. Uh yeah, I've been down since for a minute here.
Awesome, 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 bro.
Okay, man, that's almost
Yeah.
almost 30.
It's always good to connect with like long time Dragon Ball fans. My
Yeah.
problem with my problem with new age Dragon Ball fans is they rely sometimes only on Super. They don't watch, DBZ or the old Dragon Ball or GT. You
Yeah.
know, Dragon Ball has its flaws and everything, but they just think, oh, DBS is this and that. And then some people are like way too hardcore because DBS is just it's a continuation from DBZ, but it's also different in the
Mhm.
way that DBS is meant for kids of this generation, you know, and like it's not gonna have the hard story that DBZ had. Dragon Ball Super, the tone's a little bit more less strict, even though like yes, there's bloody moments and things of that nature. But for the most part, you always know like the heroes are gonna win. You know, even though in DBZ, like the it was there's some graphic moments, and the tone of the show was pretty pretty deadly at times.
Right.
You know, so but that's one thing. So I always like whenever I'm having a conversation with a Dragon Ball fan, I always like to know like what they think first. You know, just so it helps me better understand. Like, you know, this is how they feel about the series and things of that nature.
Yeah, understanding their perspective, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
You know, that's the best way to describe it.
right. And yeah, it took me a while to like it wasn't until like recently where I realized just how much there is a gap in between like the knowledge of the series as a whole and just, you know, what just understanding the story in general and what each character represents or means to the story, like or just like knowing stuff. Like there was a clip on Instagram, and it was from like the Garlic Jr. saga, like the filler saga,
Mm-hmm.
that one back in the Toonami Rising Sun days. I don't know if he was around for that.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody was like, where is this from? And they were like, they the responses I saw in the comments were just so like everywhere but the right place. I was like, where are they getting this from? And I usually don't jump in those conversations, but I was like, it's the Garlic Jr. saga, you know, episode blank. And like, or at first I just said it's a Garlic Jr. saga. Then someone told me I was wrong. And then I went up and got like the actual episode number for them. And like, hey, there you are. I see you now. Hey, there you go.
Now, so the problem was my OBS was on, and OBS is what I use to record like all my videos. So my camera was being put on OBS and said, so I had to close OBS. So that's why it wasn't anything like a Zoom, but like, yes, you know, good. Yeah. Now I can see you. You can see me. Yeah. As you can see, I was actually just recording before I hopped on this call. I was recording. Have you read the fan manga Dragon Ball Kakame? It's
It's
like
funny. I was while I was waiting, I was watching Unrelent's video on it.
oh,
I haven't read it. I haven't read it, but I look at, you know, people covering it, you
of
know.
course.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my thing. I'll be okay. So I'll be honest with you since you seem like a pretty chill guy. Okay. So I'm pretty close with Geekdom 101. You know,
Cool.
I'm in his Discord server. You know, and I've done a couple videos with him. I'm pretty close with him. If you ever seen something, I've actually done videos with him.
Yeah,
Uh
I heard you jump in on the last
on the
like
stream.
yeah, the stream he did. I heard
Yes.
you in there.
Yeah. Uh I'm not the biggest fan. I'm good with most of the content creators. Uh Unrelent, he's at the bottom for me. I am not a fan of Unreal Gaming. I'm subscribed to him. I will only watch a video of his if it's an emergency. Like if there's something just came out and I need to know, like if Danny has reported yet, or if I have not covered it yet, or something of that nature. I'm not a fan because to me, he always wants to be the first to cover something. Plus, but if like you know, when I've watched his videos, like you have your own opinion of him. I respect that. I when I've watched his videos, he seems to me to drag things out. Right. You know, if he'll talk about something and talk about it for 10 minutes, repeating the same thing over and over again, just to make the video longer so you can put more ads. I understand you're trying to make money, but you know, I'm not gonna sit there. I'm a guy who like loves to get his news, do what he has to do, make his video, and then boom, move on to the next thing. That's why like I don't make speculation videos as much. You know, like if something's announced for like the new movie, you know, I'll make one video on it, and then if I miss something, maybe I'll make a second video.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna go on and on and on making video after video after video just so I can try to get views. That's you know, because I have a job, I have other things to do. You know, I have other Dragon Ball's not the only thing I cover on my channel. I have
Right.
other things to take care of. You know, when I watch somebody like Alex, he might be the nicest guy in the world. I don't know. I've never met him personally. I don't think I want to, you know, but I just know that it, to me, I'm just like, you drag things out on perfect. And, like, if, like, another example, I make a Dragon Ball Super manga review,
Mhm.
right? It might go an hour because I'm really passionate about Dragon Ball. I will talk up a storm. I do podcasts, like I can talk forever if I want to.
Mhm.
Somebody like him, he will talk just to drag the video out. That's the difference, you know. And that's just my problem, with him. He could be the nicest guy ever. You know what I mean? And I don't wish anything bad happened to him. I just don't like people that try to be first to everything. I rather wait to make a video and make sure I have the right information,
Yeah.
rather than just put a video out just to get views and things of that nature. That's just me.
And that's perfectly fine, because it's what they say, different strokes for different folks, different in journalism, the whole what you call integrity, or just being first, there's all these different opinions and different perspectives, as you were talking about earlier, and like how people approach the business,
Yep.
and just like that, just Dragon Ball journalism, covering things in general. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, so it's perfectly fine for you to, feel that way. That's definitely, and yeah, if Unreal, likes that, then that is, yeah, that's good for him too. If that works, if that feeds his machine, whatever feeds your machine. So
Of course. Yep.
yeah, but like you said, sometimes it's like, well, yeah, I'll go to Unreal because I know he's already talking about it. It's like I know he's already got it out there. Like I remember I saw some post on Twitter where it was showing that, I don't know if you ever seen that GIF of like the little girl and the little pink Jeep where she like doing the drift.
Yep.
And so it was like Unrelenting be like, I am speed. And
Yes.
I'm like, it's facts though. I'm like, he be on it. He be on it. I'm like,
Yep.
I don't even know how he gets videos processed that fast. My videos take like an hour just to process. So I'm like, he killing it. He killing it. So
Yeah, he probably has one of those, like, it all depends on like your encoder settings too. Like,
mhm,
yes, if it's like a heavy file, it's gonna take a while for the video to process. But depending on what you use to edit, like when I first started doing videos, yes, I had heavy files, even just a video of me talking, you
mhm,
know, it's just, you got to experiment what you're using. And then, I definitely think he has, like, if you watch one of his videos, especially, like, I don't know how he edits. I don't even know if he edits them that fast. I don't know how, if he just has like a preset template, because I don't know. You know what I mean? But yeah, I feel you on that. He is on it. He is on it. I'm not the biggest fan, but I'll give him respect for his grind.
got to. But yeah, tell me about how, like I told you about how I first encountered Dragon Ball. Tell me
Yep.
about how you first encountered Dragon Ball.
So yeah, definitely. Dragon Ball was the first anime I was ever introduced to
Oh,
growing up. You know, I don't know if you remember, but there was a time where they used to put anime on Cartoon Network.
yeah.
Where, Naruto, Dragon Ball, all that. So basically, when I was about, say, 5, 6 years old, I was addicted to watching TV back then, like almost every kid. Watching Nickelodeon with SpongeBob, Jimmy Neutron, all those, and then going to Disney Channel and like Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and those shows, and Cartoon Network, right? They had like Ed and Eddie, those shows like that. And I remember, I think it was a Saturday, Saturdays, I think it was like Anime Day, you know, on Cartoon Network. And I remember one day they were showing the Blue Saga on DBZ, and I think it was like, I believe it was Goten and Trunks. They were fighting in the martial arts tournament. I was like, this is awesome. Like, dang. And then I remember YouTube back then it's like YouTube was nowhere close to being as big as it was. And
Right.
I'm just searching this up, because at the end of the episode, you had the narrator like, next time on Dragon Ball Z. Go to YouTube. I start all these clips come up, and I watched all the clips. Like, I would sit at the computer for hours just looking at clips of DBs, like Goku versus Frieza,
Mhm.
Vegeta versus Goku. Like, so I was watching the series through YouTube clips. And then I remember for Christmas, I asked my mom, to get me there was two things I wanted. I got a GameCube. That was when GameCubes were famous. And then the first Dragon Ball game I ever played was Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi 2, and then She got me the DBZ series. At first, she was a little bit skeptical because it was fighting, but she realized Dragon Ball wasn't like, bloody fighting like Call of Duty or anything like that. So
Mm.
she let me watch it. I told her it was like martial arts, karate type stuff, and she was like, okay. So I watched all of DBZ, and that was my introduction to the series, and then that became my first love. Like, and that was back when Pokemon and like Yu-Gi-Oh were always on Cartoon Network, but DBZ was it for me. And then as the years went on, I got introduced to other anime, and I grew up. But Dragon Ball was always it, even though you could say that Naruto is like the greatest anime ever because of storytelling. But you know, DBZ has its flaws, but for me, just everything about DBZ is just beautiful to me. I just loved it. So that's where it felt for me. And oh my gosh, I remember when DBZ Kai was announced, right? And that was and like I always tell people DBZ Kai is the best way to watch Dragon Ball.
Oh,
Outside, if you've never seen DBZ, because DBZ it does have a little bit slow pacing sometimes, and the script, especially the English script, isn't the best. It's not as fluent as the Japanese manga is. So
mhm.
I always tell people, there is no Dragon Ball Z Kai for like Dragon Ball, but for people who have never watched the dub before, I always tell people watch Dragon Ball, then watch DBZ Kai instead of Dragon Ball Z, and
Mhm.
then you can go to Dragon Ball Super and GT and all the other stuff. But yeah, that was my introduction. Even though I love DBZ, I think DBZ Kai is the best way for someone to watch Dragon Ball.
That's interesting because I'm a person who never watched Kai. Like I watched basically the original run because I got in back in the older days when way before the Buu saga was translated. That was back when Dragon Ball Z was kind of just in this purgatory of rerunning the Saiyan saga and early Namek saga over and over and over again,
Yep.
and which were cool. I like it, like what they call the ocean dub. That's my favorite
Ah,
dub because it's the one I grew up with.
yep.
I love the way Goku and Vegeta, Krillin, Piccolo. I love the way they used to sound. And then they got the new guys when they came in with the Ginyu Force saga, and it was like I was like they're cool. It's just not the guys I was rolling with. It was such a big shift, and I'll never forget just when I first heard Krillin speak on that episode. I'm like, huh? Like, what's wrong with his voice? Like, because there was no, back then, there's no announcement, there's no YouTube videos
Yep.
like, hey, so the Funimation is, redubbing these or whatever, So it was just so from left field. But yeah, it was dope all the same hearing the Falconer score and all that stuff, and
Hmm.
being there when Gohan first turned Super Saiyan 2, all of those dope moments. So yeah, so I'm like well, you're not the first person, but I'm because of how I experienced Dragon Ball. I'm not used to meeting someone who's like, oh yeah, I came in on the Buu saga. Like I had to go online and buy from like a shady ass website, get a VHS
Yes.
Thanks fighting Boo, like the Japanese dub. So like I had to like try and jump ahead. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's cool. So jumping forward,
Mhm.
how tell me like what you've thought of the granola arc so far. The
Okay.
Granola the Survivor arc.
All right. The Granolah the Survivor arc, in my opinion,
Mm,
this is my opinion. We're focusing on the DBS manga here, right? I'm not talking about the Dragon Ball Super anime.
right.
That's different. Now, eventually, I do believe the Dragon Ball Super anime will come back, maybe even later this year. If not, I think next year.
Mm,
Sometime in the next year and a half, I think the DBS anime will come back. But if we're talking about the manga, I think the Granolah the Survivor arc has the chance, depending on the finale, to be the best arc in the DBS manga. And I
oh,
just want to make that crystal clear. In
okay.
my opinion, I have really enjoyed this arc because here's the thing. One of my things with Dragon Ball is and my eyes get a little bit a little bit watery just because of light, but don't
You
worry
good?
about it. I'm not crying or anything. Anyway, so my thing is I love Dragon Ball, but one thing, especially with some of the villains of DBS or antagonists, I'm not even going to call them villains, you know, is that they don't have a personal connection really to Goku. Let's go in order here, really quick, right? Beer is the god of destruction. All right, cool. You know, Frieza, he was a villain already from DBZs. He's not a fresh villain. Hit was from another universe. No real connection there. Goku Black was, I loved Goku Black, but they messed it up near the end because they made it so confusing with the whole time travel bullcrap. And people just, didn't like how Goku Black was just Zamasu at the end of the day. I liked how Goku Black was kind of separate from Zamasu until later on in the arc. So, and then the ending of the Goku Black arc didn't help it. Jiren, he was from another universe, and he was just a justice guy that was like really strong. Broly, I loved Broly, but he's a Saiyan, and he was mainly just a strong rage monster. Yes, he has that connection to Goku because he's a Saiyan, but Broly wasn't even a bad guy. Moro, yeah, Moro was cool. His abilities were great, and I love the Moro saga. He was just an evil goat man from the past. With Granolah, it's not even really Granolah, really, because Granolah is not the enemy here. This is Granola's story. What's great about this is, in my opinion, is here you have an actual villain, which ends up being the Heater clan, and they are connected to Goku's past, to his father. One thing that I've always wanted from Dragon Ball is for the villains to have direct connection to our heroes, because it adds a little bit more to the story, right? And also, I've always wanted Goku to have more connection to his past. I hate that Goku has no memory of his parents after, I know it's a thing in anime, right? The main character always has that special memory with their parents, no matter if it's Naruto or Luffy or we can go down the list, right? But Goku doesn't have that, because he bumped his head. And I'm one of the people I'm in the minority here. I'm one of the people that would not mind if Bardock was brought back in Dragon Ball Super. It would be hard to do, right? And I know some people would be like, this is the ultimate fan service, but to be honest, if Dragon Ball Super and Toriyama and Toritaro did it correctly, I'm with it 100%.
There's a lot of great things they could do with the Saiyans in general, if quote unquote, if done correctly. There's like I made a video not too long ago of just how a Bardock spinoff, like if they wanted to make a spinoff, would like there is definitely an audience for that, and I think it would be really great because I think what kind of I don't want handicap what kind of handicap Super at the end of the day is that it's placed between a time skip. So you kind of already know the end of the story. So I'm like, if you did a spin-off of Bardock's adventures, you have no idea what you're getting yourself into. It's a story that you could gear towards more so older audiences because Bardock is more so an anti-hero. And it's like I said, it's completely new ground. Bardock travels through space too, so you don't have to just be focused with the Saiyans. You could make up all kinds of different races and ideas, and it takes nothing to say, oh yeah, well, Bardock had an encounter with Bardock, or not, I said that backwards. Beerus had an encounter with Bardock, but they memory wiped him, and Beerus doesn't remember him because he thought he was insignificant or something, something. It's real easy to get creative with these stories, and then just have a hand wavy explanation for, small things. But yeah, there's so much that could be done with Bardock and the Saiyans, even still, if they were brought back into the modern continuity.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And you having that direct link with Bardock and Goku through Gas, like in the recent chapter, that dialogue between Goku and Gas while they're fighting on the trains is pretty damn cool in my opinion. So now going into the end of the arc or whatever happens in these next couple chapters, it's leaving me on the edge of my seat, like, okay, after this, what could Goku do? Will Goku go to Whis? And because I'm willing to bet Whis, we seen him look in the past. Remember when he showed Beerus the battle between Goku and Frieza in Battle of Gods? Uh maybe Goku goes to Whis like, hey, could you tell me something about my dad? Like there's a lot of things they could do here. And I really do love that because I love how this story has more of a personal impact on Goku, and I feel like we need more of that. We need more emotion in Dragon Ball Super.
What do you
So
think of what they tried to
yeah,
do with Vegeta and his connection to Granolah and the overall arc?
I really do enjoy that as well. You know, one of the themes here is Vegeta becoming this newer version of himself, and I think you did a video on this talking about Vegeta's identity crisis.
Yeah,
Uh, you
that was
know,
my Friday video. Yeah.
Yep. And look, yes, Vegeta has his flaws in the DBS manga, but as of late, I think they've done a better job with Vegeta. Vegeta's a character that's always going to be controversial just because he's probably the most popular character in the show, and people always want to see him succeed. But the thing about it is, I like how one of the themes of this arc is Vegeta trying to become a better version of himself, and that kind of started with the moral saga. Vegeta with this kind of acceptance of what he did in the past, of him being a villain, and then him trying to, move past that and become a better person. And we're seeing a lot in this arc alone. Vegeta giving Granolah a sensu bean. Vegeta willingly just giving the rest of his energy to Goku, which he did that. Yes, we saw that in the anime, but remember, the manga and the anime are a little bit different because in the tournament of power in the manga, he didn't do that.
Hmm.
So you know what I mean. So it's different, and these are things Vegeta would have never done in the past. Even arguably at the beginning of Dragon Ball Super, some of these things we don't even know if Vegeta would have done. So you know what I mean. So,
Well, so I would only thing I would push back on that is just that I feel like the arc was kind of like in the same with the in the moral saga where I feel like the arc was kind of pumping up Vegeta towards like everything was pointing towards Vegeta's about to be the guy who gets it done.
yep.
People want to say like he was going to be the main character. I'm like, that's a bit strong. You don't have to call him the main character. It's just he's the one that's going to take care of the villain or antagonist, right? And so much of the story, and again, because it's a monthly series, it's like in our time, it's like we spend years being, getting used to the idea that okay, Vegeta's feeling this way about things and he's acting this way. So it's all building up towards this, and you have this whole year of anticipation, and then they turn a hard left at the end. And I think that's what people like why they have more of a issue with it. I don't think it's more so that it's like he's helping Goku or anything like that. It's like I just spent the last year getting behind the idea that Vegeta was preparing for a way to surpass Ultra Instinct, and he was gonna master these new techniques that would be able to either like counter Moro's hacks or for or like in the case of Granolah, he was just going to become more powerful and be able to claim the title of the strongest in the universe. And then they took these hard lefts, and it's all good if Goku is the main character, so to speak, and he's fighting, and it seems like it's up to him. That's all good, but not when you just spent a whole year telling me like the narrative pointing towards Vegeta was going to get this W not only over the antagonist but just in his own journey, and it's almost like it's like you're watching someone that keeps relapsing. Like, dude, you were on the 11th step of the 12-step process, and then you just went all the way back. And it's like it's just frustrating to see that, and especially when Vegeta. There's so much you could do with him. We talk about what you could do with Bardock. There's a lot you could do with Vegeta, just like you should see in these Kakami videos, where they're doing what they're doing with Vegeta. It's like it doesn't necessarily have to be greater stakes to explore a character further. It's just about putting the character on display. Going to deal with the other Universe Six Saiyans and getting involved in their world. Maybe being somewhat more of a Saitama figure where it's just overpowered individual. Like, have you watched One Punch Man? You know what I'm talking about?
Yep. I
Yeah,
know
so
exactly.
this Saitama figure where he's this overpowered individual, and he's more so not necessarily just beating up everybody, but he's more so affecting the story in other ways. And then when it comes time for him to really flex on someone, it's it's this amazing thing. But yeah, there's a lot that could be done, and I think like yeah, it's cool to see that Goku is connected to the story through what happened with Bardock. I just think it's at the expense of
Of Vegeta.
Vegeta's narrative. Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean there. You know what I mean? And I will say this, you kind of built up Ultra Ego as kind of, the equivalent, or even maybe even, surpassing Ultra Instinct, even though I don't think that's the case personally, but
Mhm.
as the equivalent, okay, makes sense, right? Vegeta's version of UI, whatever you want to call it. And you know, one thing that I think about is like back in the day when someone got a new form, when Goku got Super Saiyan against Frieza, when Gohan got Super Saiyan 2 against Cell, they made it a point to absolutely hammer how important this form was and how much of how powerful it was. They would go numerous chapters, numerous episodes of this, Goku or Gohan in full control, and then the opponent not being able to do anything in
Mhm.
Super, yeah. So Ultra Instinct got a couple moments like that, against Jiren and Moro, and even a little bit against Granolah. But when Vegeta gets his new form, he only gets really a couple panels if you think about it, a couple pages. He looks pretty cool, and he's grabbing Granolah and telling Granolah, "Let me, bring you down to size," and he's headbutting him and doing cool things of that nature. But then later on in the chapter, Granolah, uh he gets back into the fight and he's actually able to defeat Vegeta,
Mhm.
like a chapter later, and that's a little bit disappointing. And I think Vegeta fans, especially like, you built this, like you said, they built this up, and then instead, you kind of just disappoint us at the end of the day. It's just Vegeta, just the same thing over and over again. And they don't treat Vegeta like a punching bag like they have in the past, but still, it's a little disappointing because every time you make it seem like Vegeta's about to get that big alpha moment, it's like oh no, for the sake of story or for whatever reason, we have to pull back on it. It's like you go 50 miles per hour and then you go back down to 30.
Mhm.
It's just like, and I think about the end of this arc and what's going to happen. I have no idea what's going to happen. Will Vegeta, and I still think at some point, I don't know how, some point, I still think we're going to see UI Goku. We're going to see UE Vegeta. And I'm just thinking there's no way you gave Vegeta a new form like this and it's not going to be used somehow here at the end. Even if
Right.
Vegeta wasn't going to get the final kill, right? Because I feel like it's probably going to be Granolah somehow or something, right? Even still, the fact that Vegeta and Ultra Egos might not have a role here at the end, I feel like that might be one of the biggest disappointments, if anything, if that doesn't take place. If
Right.
anything, Ultra Ego has to make one more return and has to have a significant, impact here at the end, whatever that may be.
And I was sort of mentioning this in my video of like you could chalk it up to it's like, okay, well, it's his first time using the form. Goku didn't sustain Ultra Instinct Omen for that long, when he first got into it. It's like you could say, okay, that's what happened. And especially if you're trying to shape the story to where Goku and Vegeta are more supporting characters to Granola's story, and it's about Granolah getting his revenge and like him taking on Gas. And I feel like this is where I think, where Mastar and a couple other people were talking about how the arc feels like it's being dragged out. Because it seems like it would have made sense, like the story would have felt complete and whole that, like, okay, Vegeta got defeated, but then Granolah still was humbled and he got, beaten down. And then Vegeta's like, you know what, here, you take the Senzu bean, you do this for your people, and yada yada yada. Basically be the guy that I couldn't be, whatever. And but then for them again to just go, oh no, Granolah still gets trashed. So it's like, all right. So what was the whole point of the verbiage of Vegeta saying like, yeah, you got stronger, but you don't take the time to, appreciate the skills or learn about them? Like that should have been what Granolah basically taught to Gas. Like, yeah, you're stronger than me now, but I have the maturity or whatever to the discipline to actually use this power in a way to where I can still defeat you. It's not just about power, and he defeats Gas, he defeats Alec, and or maybe he still lets him go, like on some, since they're taking references with Spider-Man 3, that sucker be like, oh, I forgive you. You know what, just fade into the the sunset. I forgive you. You know what? We will start again. We will build again. And you know that seems like that would have been a great Granolah the Survivor arc. Like you said, I would say that's the best arc of Super if that's how it went out. You know, but now we're off on this other, you know, avenue of what's, you know, going on with Goku and Gas, and now the idea that Broly could come in. It's just like, so yeah, where is this train going? You know, so no pun intended. But yeah, it's like, where is this train going? You know, and I think, and that was what I was gonna. Well, first I was gonna ask you, that the idea that Broly could come in next chapter. What do you think of that?
Okay, well, I have a theory, and I talked about this with Geekdom 101 a little bit, and I'll say it here again really quick. You know, I love the new Broly.
Mm,
I think he's way better than DBZ Broly ever was, to be honest. And I
mm-hmm,
think Toriyama did a great job with him in the Broly movie. Part of me is thinking, and I'm just looking because ever since they announced the superhero movie and they announced that we were kind of in like the climax stages of the Granolah arc, right? I feel like people have like just been trying to predict when this thing's gonna end, you
mm,
know. And that's why I always say wait till the end of the arc before you judge it. One thing I love to do is I like to reread an arc once we reach the final chapter of an arc, and that's what I come up with my opinion on it. And
mm-hmm,
I'm thinking, right? I don't know when this arc's gonna end. Maybe it ends in April, right before the superhero movie comes out, right? Maybe like you never know. There could be a plan here between Soatia and Toritaro and them. Who knows? I don't, but I'm just thinking if Brody does come in, right? If he was to get the kill on Gas, that would be one of the worst ways that this arc can end. And if people trashed on it, I would not blame them. I would definitely have a lesser opinion of this arc because of that. That's why, I really want to wait till this arc ends before I call it the best arc in the manga, in my opinion.
mm-hmm,
Broly, if he comes in and makes a quick cameo like next chapter, like they end up on Planet Vampa for a little bit, right? You know, and he doesn't get like kill Gas. Maybe he just like gives Goku time to catch his breath or come up with a plan. That's fine. That's fine. You know what I mean? Uh, because Goku, has friends all over the galaxy. If Broly gets the kill, that's where the problem is,
mm,
But if Broly comes in for a quick cameo here next chapter, that's whatever. I could see something happening where, all right, they make a quick pit stop on Planet Vampa as their instant transmission throughout the galaxy, and then they end up on Planet Stereo, and then whatever happens, happens. I can see easily at the end Goku and maybe Granolah and Vegeta talking, and then Goku's like, "Yeah, oh, while me and Gas were going to the galaxy, we ended up on Broly's planet. You remember him, Vegeta, right?" And Vegeta's like, "Broly, really?" And then it could end up being something where the end of this arc directly ties in the superhero. Like Goku's like, oh, maybe we should just go train with Broly a little bit. He would be a valuable guy to have on our sides in battles like this. And then that could directly lead to, of course, what happens in the superhero movie, where we know that, Goku and Vegeta, they might not have a major role on Earth with Gohan and Piccolo, but they're training with Broly on Beerus's planet and things of that nature. I don't know if that's true, but if they do something like that, I'm 100% fine with it.
mm,
My problem would be is if Broly ends up killing Gas or, something big of that thing happening. Because Broly doesn't have anything to do with this story. It hurts the story if you have Broly come in and be like this big hammer that changes everything. You
mm.
know, it's like Whis reversing time against Frieza, things of that nature.
Yeah, I kind of made a video talking about this too. Like it was my first video back, and it's funny. I was like, I didn't realize how interesting this of a topic this was because it like got a bunch of views in the first like 24 hours. But I was thinking like my theory was, well, what if Goku locks on to Broly's energy? He goes to what he thinks is Vampa, but it actually ends up being Beerus's planet where Broly he's already there,
Ooh, I like that.
and how or like basically Beerus was watching Vegeta, was disappointed, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna take on this other Saiyan as somewhat of a disciple, and he's already like Broly's already been training with Beerus, right? Because they haven't taken the time to flash back with Whis and Beerus like they did during the Moro saga. I shouldn't say flashback. I mean transition to see what they're doing. So it's like it's a realm of mystery. It's like, well, maybe they've been up to doing stuff, and yeah, they met up with Broly, and now they've been training for what, maybe a couple. I forget how long it's been during that, like their trip from Earth to Planet Cereal, but
Been like
it,
has been long.
it's been like what, maybe a week. I think it took
Yeah,
like a week for them to
something
get
like
there.
that.
So, but you could say, well, Broly gets stronger really fast, so maybe he can be a little bit contend a little bit with gas or whatever through whatever techniques he's already mastered. And then I was like, and then you could have Broly get defeated by gas, and then Beerus step in and like do some like one punch man shit and just beat gas like that. And then you could still establish the hierarchy that, oh yeah, Beerus is still actually stronger than everybody. And then I was saying, because like I'm just going through all my video ideas. I had like an idea where it was kind of, because we never saw the wish from Alec, as far as I remember, right? We never
Yep.
saw Alec actually make the wish. So I was like, what if it's kind of like a placebo effect, where Gas didn't actually become the strongest in the universe, Alec did, but Alec knew that if he hyped up Gas, he would fight with his real potential. And so he's just telling him, yeah, you're the strongest in the universe. Yeah, you can do it. Hey, calm down. Hey, you can take care of these people. And now he's fighting with confidence. Yeah, I don't know how much you pay attention to sports, but I mean, you got the Jumpman logo. So I'm like, but it's like playing with confidence can make an entire world of difference.
Yep.
So it's like maybe he just got him hyped up. Gas was really strong from jump. He just needed to believe in himself, but he got beat by Beerus. Goku comes back to Vampa after leaving the planet, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll catch up with you later, Broly." Setting up superhero. He comes back, and it's like, "All right, Alec, we handle Gas. You're like, it's over, And then Alec reveals he's actually the guy to stop, and maybe Gogeta ensues, and that's the climax, right? So that was what I was thinking could happen. But I also thought about the idea, and a lot of people have been talking about it, what if Frieza comes in, because that actually meshes with the story more so of how it all started with Frieza, the Saiyans, the Heaters, the extinction of the Granola's people, yada yada yada. What do you think of Frieza coming in?
I think something needs to be done with Frieza. You can't mention him as much as they have and not do something with him. I don't necessarily know what it is, because we don't know how powerful Frieza is. We don't know if Frieza's like hasn't trained since the Tournament of Power. We know that when he does train with his potential, he could get really strong really quickly.
Right.
But or maybe you have Frieza come in and showcase some new power, and then that kind of, I don't know, maybe scares Goku and Vegeta a little bit. Realize like, oh my gosh, he's catching up to us. He's staying with us.
Right.
And part of me was thinking, since we're throwing out different theories today, right? Dragon. If you notice at the end of Dragon Ball Super Broly, Frieza talks about how he needs somebody, because it's always going to be 2-on-1 with Goku and Vegeta, whether they're fused or not. It's going against two super powerful Saiyans against one, and he talks about how he wants Broly to be that third, but I don't think Broly would ever team up with Frieza. I could definitely see Broly teaming up with Goku and Vegeta one day. It probably will happen. Maybe not in this arc, but I'm willing to bet in the future Goku, Vegeta, and Broly will team up.
Right.
I'm thinking maybe something that happens is, because I keep thinking, what is this? There has to be a condition for Alec making either himself or Gas the strongest in the universe. Granola's condition, we don't know it. He had to give up, his lifespan. And even though I do think Granolah will survive this arc, and I do think, knowing Dragon Ball, Granolah will probably get his lifespan back somehow. That's the way, because it always is a happy ending, right? I'm just thinking maybe they do something like, okay, maybe they end up defeating Gas, Goku, Vegeta, and Granolah somehow. UE, they team up. Who knows, right? Maybe they do something where Alec, survives, and maybe he goes to Frieza. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? And Frieza and Alec somehow team up, and that could be the next arc. Something's gonna happen here. Frieza has to be involved some way. I don't know if they're gonna instant transmit the Frieza ship. I don't know if Frieza's gonna end up on planet Vampa. I mean, not planet Vampa, planet Cereal. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if they're gonna wait till the very end of this arc for Frieza, but if he doesn't get involved, it's gonna hurt the arc. You know, just like we're talking about how it would be a negative thing for Broly to end up killing Ass. It
Mm-hmm.
would be a negative, in my opinion, if Frieza doesn't show up somehow. I'm not saying Frieza needs to have a major role,
Right.
but you can't mention him as much as they have in this story, and not have him. I understand that they shifted the focus because at first they thought they made it seem like, oh, it was the Frieza army that was taking out Planet Cereal, but you learned that it was actually the Heater clan that coordinated and did everything, as little snakes. So, but you have to have Frieza show up somehow. Like how Frieza was aware in the Moral Saga about Moral and he chose not to be involved, right? Frieza has this directly involves Frieza. So you cannot have the so-called Emperor of the Universe not have anything to do with this when he's been directly involved the entire time.
Right. So I know we touched on this a little bit while you said you don't know how the arc is going to end at this
Yep.
point. Yeah, but let's say just to round this out, what would you like to see in the next arc?
In the next arc,
Just what either what would you like to see? What do you
yeah,
hope to see? What makes sense?
yeah,
Just all of that.
okay. So I would say no matter how this arc ends, I think they do need to, at least the next arc should take place after the superhero movie. I think it's time that we get to Oob. We are so close. It's like so close. And I understand Dragon Ball's a little bit different because let's be honest, death doesn't really matter as much in Dragon Ball
Mm,
than other series, but still it would help to add a little bit of, let's say flavor, just for them to get past that point because it's just too obvious that everybody survives no matter what. Even
right.
if that continues after, Oob, still it would be interesting because we don't know what happens. Ooh, but GT's not canon to the DBS DBZ timeline. That's a whole separate thing. So what I would do after this arc, I would, how when the Broly movie came out in the manga, they mentioned it for like 2 pages, then they moved on to the Moral Saga. I
Mm-hmm.
would do the same thing. No matter what happens here, I would say, what happened next is, Gohan and Piccolo. They had a battle with, you know, androids and whatever, and then that's a story for another day. And then we go to after the superhero movie. And I think what they should do next is they should do the I would spend a chapter on this max. Retell the end of the story. Like one chapter. I'm not talking about multiple chapters. We know the end of Z for the most part. We know what happens with Oob. We know the tournament. There is some things they have to fix, right? Like Bulma saying she hasn't seen Goku in years. Like
Mm-hmm.
we know that's not true now because of DBS. You know, fix those things so it looks more accurate, and then we move on to whatever. What I want them to do, honestly, is I want them to do a Goku and Vegeta disciple arc. You know, I will, Goku with the Power Master UI, Vegeta if he ever masters UE, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want them to, train Broly. I want them to train Oob and do kind of like a master, like Goku and Vegeta can still kind of be the focus, but you're also building up the next generation. You can get Goten, you can get Trunks involved, right? You can get Pan involved since we're already going to see a little bit of that in the superhero movie. You can continue that if you want. You can have Gohan involved, but you know, have Goku and Vegeta become more like disciples, even though we know they're always going to be, 1A and 1B. We know that they're the strongest, but just having more of a focus on those other characters like Oob and knowing, building up the next generation of fighters, I think would be really cool, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So I would like to see something like that. Go to the end of Z right after this arc, mention the superhero movie quickly, and then, do like a Goku and Vegeta disciple mentor arc with, some of these other characters. Will they do it? I don't know, but that's just something I would personally like to see.
Right. All right. Well, I mean, I think that's a good place to leave it. I, of course, could sit here talking with you about this all day.
Oh yeah.
Like I've got like a bunch of ideas. I was like, okay, but I was like, I gotta talk about that in a separate video. I can't just. We'll be here all day. It'd be like a 2 hour damn long one of these Joe Rogan interviews. So I was like, let's just let's just cap it right there. A good place of what will come. Or hold on, I forgot to tell you what I thought of. Or you know what? See, I'll save that for a video. That's how you gotta do it. You gotta be clever about this content creator game. You know, it's like
Yes,
we're
yes, you
gonna
do.
we're gonna feature Fitzmonk here and what he thinks. That's what's important. Yeah, but hey Fitzmonk, thank you for coming, taking the time. I very much appreciate. I'm glad I passed your test to
Yeah.
get here in this Zoom room with you. It's always great talking with other people, like you said, passionate about this, this genre of creation that is Dragon Ball. And hopefully we can talk about it soon, like at the end of the arc or after superhero or whatever, like I I don't know how you feel about all the other content creators, but my goal one day is to have like just a panel of like everybody coming together. Because when I was just watching everybody, I was like, it would be awesome if they crossed over more. Like this is, of course, I just got done watching Avengers and shit, but I'm like I want to see all these guys talk about Dragon Ball together. Just have like a big open panel and everyone exchange ideas, little mini debates and all that stuff. So that ain't happening no time soon. I know I got to get the carte blanche and the credibility to be able to host something like that. But like that is the vision. So I hope one day you'll be able to be a part of that. And just like again, thank you
Oh, yeah.
for blessing my channel with your presence. And hey, if you're watching this all the way to the end, wow, that's amazing because it's long. And I
Yeah.
appreciate you, Fitzmonk. Appreciate you. Go check out his channel, FitzmonkTV. He covers not only Dragon Ball, but what else, Fitz?
Yeah. So cover Dragon Ball, other anime like My Hero Academia, Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer. I also cover professional wrestling. Very
Mm.
passionate about that. Do weekly podcasts, things of that nature. A little bit of sports here and there. I dabble on that. I am a huge sports guy. So yeah, I try to give something for everybody: anime, wrestling, sports, things of that nature. So there's something on the channel for everything.
It's a
So yes,
cornucopia of creativity and content creation. Just go over there and have a good time. And yeah, so so all right, Fizz. Thanks for talking. And yeah, man, I'll catch you next time.
definitely. Thanks, brother.
All right, see you, man.
See you.